Hey all, Ryan here from Planetary Lapidary, and I am once again on the western shore of Lake Michigan. I actually haven't been to this spot in a few months, probably since spring. It's August 21st today, and I don't really plan on keeping anything today. But what I am going to do is try to find at least 20 different kinds of rocks. So if you're watching my video and you're not from around here and you're going to be around here, then you'll, be able to identify stuff. So like I said, I haven't been here in a while, so I don't know the condition of the beach, like the sludge or anything, but let's get down here and see what we got. Okay, so I am down here. I gotta say it's not too bad. There's a little layer of sludge coming up right here, but it does look like there's some clear spots. So like I said, I'm gonna try to find at least 20 different kinds of rocks for you guys just to get some identification going. And let's get into it. Okay, so first 3 kinds of rocks. We got this guy here, which hopefully you can see it, but this is just a super nice piece of red jasper, probably brecciated. You can kind of see the different textures in there. It's very waxy. Awesome piece. Then we got this guy, which is a piece of fossil soup or death plate or pack stone or even funeral stone, they're called. Basically what it is a bunch of little fossils of things that all got packed together in the sediment down at the bottom of the old oceans. You can see all the way through out there, all those little things. Different crinoid and, plant and cryozoan and a bunch of different fossils in there. And then this one, let me get it wet again. Whoop, and I dropped it. So this one, you can see the pittiness in there. This is a piece of porphyritic rhyolite. So it's rhyolite porphyry, so it's a, igneous rock behind here. And all those tiny little pores in there were little gas pockets, basically. And then we have all of these inclusions of all the other materials in there, quartz and other things. But that's cool. So first three down, porphyritic rhyolite, red jasper, and fossil soup. Let's find some more. Okay, so digging through the little rocks a little bit, I found 2 horn corals. So this, hopefully you can see in the camera, you can kind of see the shape of the whole coral, just shooting kind of right up. So I found that little piece, and then this would be the end of the horn coral right there, like the stump. So I thought that was cool. Found those 2 right next to each other. So horn coral or rugose. And then I got 2 examples here. Here, let me get it washed off again. 2 examples here of mudstone or siltstone. So they're usually going to be, striped like that. And here's a little darker one with some gray and darker black and stuff. So siltstone and mudstone are the 2 smallest grained sedimentary rocks, basically. So they'll always kind of look like this. Sometimes they'll just be solid, but usually they'll have some stripes in them. So really cool. If you find really big ones, they make really good slabs. And then everybody should know what this is. Just a nice little piece of quartz. Kind of see through it a little bit, so that'll kind of make the difference between quartz and quartzite. Hopefully I'll find a piece of quartzite so I can show you. But all right, so that's 3 more and a couple more steps. So let's keep going. Okay, next one that I find a lot of, and I like finding them. These are stromatoporoid sponge fossils. So they'll usually have bands in them. Try to get some sun here. They'll usually have bands like that in them. They can kind of be in any kind of material. This is kind of a churty one. And then this one's kind of more silicified. You can kind of see all those bands throughout that whole thing, kind of where it built itself up like a sponge. And then most of the time when you get real close in there, you can see some vertical tubes in there, vertical lines in there which connected the layers of sponge. So that's another one, kind of silicified. And then you can also find them like this, where they're kind of still in the limestone or whatever this is, maybe chert, but you can still see all of those peeling layers on there, all the way around, all the way through. So usually when you see that pattern, it's probably going to be a stromatoporoid or stromatolite, which maybe I'll find one, probably not though. But if I don't, stromatolite's very similar, just doesn't have those vertical posts. So all right, so that's another one off the list. Let's find some more. Okay, so 2 more laying right next to each other. This one here is a nice old chunk of chert. So if it dries off in the wind here, you can kind of see how waxy it's always gonna look. It'll always have kind of these fractures in it that have curves on them. you know, conchoidal fractures. And they can kind of really be any color. I've seen red, orange, yellow, you know, this like brownish color. But there you go. When it dries off, you can see that it's pretty shiny and waxy. So that's a chert. So you're going to find a lot of that. And then I found this guy, which kind of looks like a ghost from Pac-Man. But what this is a piece of gabbro. So if it dries off a little bit here, you can see all the little metally kind of bits in there. Basically what gabbro is, it's a granitoid, you know, simplified down, it's basically granite, but it has all dark, you know, or the majority of it is dark grains of things, you know, pyroxenes, all different sorts of metals, you know. So that's actually a nice chunk of it. Hopefully you can kind of see some of the glimmering different metals and kind of like different sheens in there. But like I said, gabbro, basically a granitoid, but mostly dark, you know, a little different composition. So really cool. So that's 2 more. Let's keep going. Okay, another fossil that I actually found 3 right in one spot. All kind of look a little different. So this is Favosites, or honeycomb coral. You can kind of see the hexagon chambers there, and then some side view, and then the bottom of that one. Then the next little one is a really nice one. I'll drop the other one. So here's another one that's actually all the way through. A super, super nice one. And then you can kind of see the horizontal lines in the chambers there. That allows be a dead giveaway too. And then let me see if I can find, yeah, here we go. Then I found one actually set in chert as well. So there you can kind of see the side patterns again of that. And then this one's got a horn coral right in the bottom of it. So again, usually those hexagon patterns, you kind of see them there on the top. They're tiny on that one. But Favosites, honeycomb coral. All right, 1 more off the list. Let's go. So one more type of fossil here. I'm trying to save up 1 or 2 so you guys can see a couple of views of them. So this one we have is Halosites, or chain coral. So this one will be really distinct because it'll look like tiny little chains like that. You can kind of see a side view there, but there you can see on the back too, the tiny little oval chains all throughout it. So there's one little piece, and then this was kind of one kind of set in chert. So this one's a little harder to tell, but you can kind of see the side view there of the pipes. And then maybe a little bit right there of the chains. So that's not a great one. This one you can tell a little better on. So again, Halosites or chain coral. Let's keep going. Okay, so 2 more different types of rocks here. This one I would consider a Unakite. Unakite is basically a pink feldspar or feldspar base, and then it has epidote inclusions, or, you know, epidote all going through it. That's all the green streaks around this thing. So this may be, you know, closer to like a granitoid. You can see kind of some of those quartz grains in there. But I would probably call this a Unakite, you know. Normal ones are a little lighter colored pink with the green, but I'd call that one. And then the other thing we got is sandstone. So this particular sandstone is Jacobsville sandstone. Look at that one's got kind of a grumpy face in it right there. Rah. But sandstone basically is 1 step right above the mudstone and siltstone on the sedimentary scale. You know, a little bigger grains than mudstone, definitely smaller grains than granite. So there's another tiny little example there too. So you can kind of find them any size. You can find them, you know, banded instead of this Jacobsville version where they're kind of white and red. Maybe I'll try to find one of those for you, but all right. So Unakite and sandstone. Onward. Okay, just found this little guy. So what this is a little piece of gneiss, G-N-E-I-S-S, some of the oldest rock you can find. It's basically, I guess long story short, it used to be granite and it was exposed to higher temperatures and it metamorphed into this gneiss, into layers. So instead of having the big grains, you know, like granite, it metamorphed down into layers. So really, really cool. Like I said, some of the oldest stuff you can find. Almost always black and white, basically striped. So that's the easy way to tell on that stuff. All right, let's get some more. Okay, so I showed you guys gabbro. Gabbro is basically a darker grained, you know, granitoid. So here's some regular granite, you know, all different colors, pink, orange, red, a lot of big grains, a lot of different things. So I figured I'd show you regular granite. You know, a lot of people pick that up when they first start just because it looks cool. And then the other 2 I have here would be the other end of the spectrum from gabbro as a granitoid would be diorite. So diorite is basically a granitoid that has more white, you know, crystals and things in there. So those, you know, may or may not be diorites, probably, but that's basically the difference. White, you know, mostly white diorite. Granite is all the in-between colors, and gabbro is the darker colors. All right, so 2 more. Well, let's keep going. Another super common thing that you'll find is limestone. And they'll always, or a lot of the times, they'll have this yellow kind of skin on the outside. But you can always usually see that it goes inside there and it turns white. It usually gets this yellow staining on the outside when it gets beach worn around here. A lot of times it'll have, you know, fossils included in it. And sometimes you can have some, you know, cold water agate pockets in this stuff too. But that's really, there's really a lot of this, and it can kind of get you confused with like yellow chert because the skin is yellow on the outside, but it is just limestone. You know, there are big limestone boulders and stuff up the beach a little bit. I'll show you guys those in a little bit, but a lot of the beach worn stuff is going to look like this with that yellow skin. All right, let's go. Okay, 2 more that I don't have to get wet. So the first one is this one. So if I can turn it just right, you'll see a lot of really silver metal flashing in there. So what that is mica. So mica grows in sheets. It's very silver, you know, it's almost like aluminum foil. And sometimes you can get pieces that have big chunks of it, but I just found this little one, so I figured I would show you. Hopefully I can get that on camera there, all the little, there we go, all the little sparkly metal in there. So that is mica. So that's that one. And then this one is a type of fossil called an omarolic fossil, or an omar for short. Basically what this is this hole in this rock had the fossil in it, and then it was worn out. So then it kind of makes a perfect little hole. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so I did go over a unakite before, sort of towards the beginning of the video, and I did mention epidote in there. So I just want to kind of go over epidote. So epidote is the green material. It can be with anything, you know, here's some in some basalt, kind of goes all the way around, a cool little ring. And then here's another one. You can see it's kind of just overtaking this maybe basalt or granitoid of some kind. But there's really not too many things that are green out here. There's a couple other things. Hopefully I find at least one of them today. But epidote is going to pretty much be your green material that you'll find out here. So just figured I'd go over epidote. All right, onward. So I was just talking about green stuff out here and that there's not very many things. And I took 2 more steps and I found one of the other things that's green out here. This is variolite, or variolitic basalt. You know, basically these green circular varioles are growing on top of this piece of basalt. So that is awesome. That is actually a pretty good one too. So that is, again, variolite, or, you know, it's hard to call something variolite. There's a lot of, you know, I don't know, hoopla about it. So I just call it variolitic basalt instead, because it's hard to tell if it's actually variolite. But yeah, variolite. Sweet. 2 green things today. Okay, another really cool fossil. I was hoping I would find one of these today. So there you can kind of see the shape right there. And the 2 little legs here, and then the big arms coming out. So what that is Morella splendens. That's a silk crab. So a lot of times you'll find these, and these will be connected down here. You know, the side view of brachiopods look very similar to what Morella splendens or silk crabs do. But you can always tell if these arms are going way out. You know, so they never, you never see them touch on this side. Those are the big arms, and then these are the body section, and then the 2 little body parts at the end there. So that's really cool. Didn't think I'd find any of those. All right, onward. Okay, so I'm hitting the jackpot with fossils today. Just found 2 more types of fossils. So that's like 7 or 8 types today already. So first we got this one, which I believe is a Cladopora. It's another coral fossil, but I think this one just got kind of agatized. You can see going up there. Really cool. I don't find very many of these down here. You can see the little agatized pockets, the little triangles there. That's really sweet. And I may be wrong. It may not be a Cladopora, but really that's the only one that's real big and thick like this usually. And then the other one we got is this guy, and I love this stuff. This is Arachnophyllum. So what Arachnophyllum is basically a horn coral colony that kind of all grows all right in one area. So in the middle there, like right there, you can kind of see some formations poking down in. And they kind of always look a little like spider webs, you know. Compared to Favosites or the honeycomb coral, these pockets will not be as even, you know. There'll be very variable pockets in here. So it'll kind of look very wispy, a lot of different things going on, but really cool. I was hoping I would find one of these. So Cladopora, Arachnophyllum. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so I wanted to find a couple examples of this before I showed you. So what this is quartzite. So quartzite, not to be confused with quartz. You know, quartz, sometimes you can see through it entirely. The crystals are a different size. Basically, quartzite used to be sandstone that was almost purely quartz. So it metamorphed into quartzite. So it's a little less grainy than sandstone. You know, the grains are a little bit smaller because it metamorphed, you know, from high pressure. But they can come in all different colors. A lot of times you'll find just straight white, straight gray. But there is a lot of different variations on Lake Michigan. You know, a lot of different beige colors, white, you know, some red and pink in there sometimes. But really, really cool. All right, let's go. All right, another couple of things you might see down here or anywhere you go along Lake Michigan. Urbanite. So basically what this was a brick. Like that right there. But it's been beach worn. So it looks like it would be like a, you know, some sort of igneous rock, but I think it's just a brick. I don't know what that black circle of stuff is, and maybe some eggs or something. I don't know. So yeah, you'll probably see that a lot too. Urbanite. All right, let's go. Okay, just a couple more good examples of ones we've already seen. So here's another Omeralic fossil. That one's almost perfect. You know, if the rock wasn't so big, I might keep it, but I don't generally keep those anyway. So that's another Omeralic. And then we got this piece, which has much more mica in it. So you guys can see that flash a little better, that silvery flash in the sun. This thing's just loaded. So basically it's just sheets of that throughout this thing probably. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so I was hoping to find a little better example of these today, but just in case I don't, I'll just go over them now. So what this is amygdaloidal basalt. So basically basalt's an igneous rock, and it gets a lot of these gas pockets and things inside of there. There, you can tell on that one, all those gas pockets in there. And when those gas pockets fill up with different minerals and silicify, you know, or harden, then it's called amygdaloidal basalt. Sometimes you can get some, you know, very agatized pockets, you know, like little tiny agates in there. A lot of different minerals, so really, really cool. Maybe we'll find a better one today, but, you know, these are not that great. They don't really have any patterning, but amygdaloidal basalt. Now you know what it is. Okay, 3 more black ones, and I don't have to get any of them wet to show you what they are. So the sparkly one at the top here, you can see, very, very sparkly, very reflective in the sun. So that is a schist. So what schist is it's basically a sedimentary rock. It's like medium grains, so a little bit bigger grains than sandstone, a little bit smaller than like a granite, and it has more plate, you know, more platey materials in it, like mica, talc, things like that. So, you know, when you find them on the beach, a lot of times they'll be really, really shiny like this, because you can see all the little different faces of all the different materials in there. So that's the first one, schist. And this is, you know, a mica heavy schist probably with all that reflective in there. Then we have diabase, which may look like that variolite I found before, but this one is actually just, you know, differentially weathered. So it's basically a, you know, a morph of basalt, basically, we'll call it, with these bigger, usually round crystal pockets or, you know, crystal inclusions. This one you can really tell the difference. I didn't get it wet, so you could kind of see that flash on the side of those circles in there. Because, you know, there's some feldspars and other things in there that make that flash. So that's another one, diabase. It's very similar to gabbro, just a little different structure. And then the third one we got, put this one down, is a piece of coal. And honestly, generally, I don't usually find coal anywhere. But, you know, the main difference that you'll be able to tell is that black will come off on your fingers because that's how soft it is. And it'll be super, super light. So this thing almost weighs nothing in my hand. All right, so 3 more black ones. A couple more, and then we'll probably be back to the car. All right, 2 more things I really didn't expect to find today because I don't find them very often. So this is possibly a little piece of smoky quartz. So basically smoky quartz is quartz that was stained gray or black. Usually you don't find them out on the beach like this because that sun kind of just takes that color right out of them. But this one's not too bad. There's no harder materials in there, and it's got a little gray tint to it, so it could be a little piece of smoky. But we won't ever find out because I'd usually tumble something like this, but it's kind of small anyway. But so smoky quartz basically is gray or black tinted quartz. And then there's also a chance you could always find amethyst, which is purple stained quartz. But again, usually by the time they get to the beach and they sit on the beach for a while, that color just gets sun washed right out of them. And then the second thing that I just found that I usually don't find, so all the little green material, this is a piece of rhyolite, and all the little green inclusions in there are prehnite. So I do not find a lot of prehnite at all, but it is another thing that has that kind of nice little green color to it. So that's 3 greenies I found today. So like I said, usually where I hunt, it's almost always in rhyolite like this. Like you can tell that it's rhyolite or basalt with all the little pockets in there, or all the little gas bubble pockets. But yeah, so that's really cool too. Tiny little piece of prehnite. All right, well, let's go. Okay, so I did want to find a conglomerate for you guys so I could show you the difference between conglomerate and breccia, but I just could not find a conglomerate today, so, you know, to save my life. So this is a nice breccia. So basically what breccia is larger, you know, jagged chunks of minerals or rock that are basically cemented together in a host. So this might be, you know, it could be jasper, it could be rhyolite or something, but you can see all these big jagged chunks along there. So I would call that a breccia for sure, you know, like maybe a chert breccia or something. I'm not sure what all those minerals are in there. And then what conglomerate would be is also cemented together, you know, like usually by like sandstone or, you know, quartzite or something, but the little pebbles inside will be more rounded and there'll just be more of them, you know, just so basically breccia is broken is how I remember, and then conglomerate is circles. So I did find you a breccia, but no conglomerate today. Okay, so last but not least here, we got cold water agate. So cold water agate or sedimentary agate is basically the only agate that was not formed by heat and pressure. You know, from underground, it's sedimentary, so it kind of like lays layers on top of each other. But you'll have all of these, you know, you can still get the banding in there, you can kind of see on that one. So that's one little example. Here's a nice little window with maybe some bands around the outside. They're kind of drying off on me here. Here, let me go get these other ones wet because these are even cooler. All right. So let's look at these last 3. So here was one with a really pronounced little banded pocket on there. Little one on the side right there. You know, a lot of times I would take stuff like this home to cut it open, see if any of that's inside. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to take anything at all today. So here's another little example. Another nice little couple bands in there, usually in limestone, you know, almost always. That's why, like I said before, when I showed you that piece of limestone with the yellow skin on it, that's why all these have that yellow skin as well, because they're all usually in limestone. And then this is the last one, which was kind of a crazy one. Not 100% sure what this is even. You can kind of see the little white pocket there. Then another little pocket that goes all the way over to that side. So they'll generally look like that, you know, white. I've found yellow, I've found brown, but usually white pockets, you know, in limestone. This one may be a piece of limestone, but it's just a weird one. But yeah, so cold water agate's definitely around. You know, that's a really cool pattern right there. Sometimes you find really good ones, sometimes you don't find anything, but today I found these 5 for sure. So yeah, they're here. There are Lake Superior agates here, but they're just so few and far between that, you know, my eyes don't really look for those here, that color, like the reds and stuff. So all right, so we are almost back to the car. Maybe we'll find something else, maybe we won't, but we'll see. Okay, so we're back to the car. I didn't really find anything else, but I'm pretty sure I found way over 20 different kinds of rocks for you guys today. Hopefully there's at least 1 or 2 on there that you didn't know what they were and that helped you identify them. But if you like this video, leave a like, hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.